Yeah. And that's the journey, right? That is the journey of our soul to grow, to be all that it is and all that it can be through everything, the ups and the downs. It's life. And isn't it joyful? I mean, we're all here because we said yes. We said yes to a journey of truth, of life, of love. And we all came here through different routes. And it's good to be back with you guys today. Thank you for having me. So y'all know me. I got to teach a little bit. And Pat, Taylor, wherever you are, I got a handout. So everybody, I got handouts. They're over in the window. I am not Charles Lilly yet to give you the complete synopsis of what I'm going to talk about today for you to work with. But I do have a handout, okay? I'm working on becoming Charles. I don't know which one, though, whether it's Lilly or Fillmore. Who knows? All right. So I am going to talk a little bit today about spirit, because that's who we really are. That I am of us. And there's different levels of that, right? Because we have different levels of consciousness. And some days we can move from our victimhood consciousness. Anybody ever been there? Right, yeah. Into the mystic. Right? And we can do it in a second. Because our soul is eternal. And it's an accumulation of all our thoughts and beliefs through all of our lifetimes. And not only our individual lifetimes, but collective lifetimes. So let me say that again. Our soul is the accumulation of all of our beliefs and thoughts. Take a breath. Let it go. Because it can be daunting. But it's who we are, and it's how we rise up as individuals and be the best that we can be in the moment. That really matters. We begin a journey with understanding, or to stand under all our beliefs, all of our thoughts and energies. Under the universal creative law, the law of creativity. Because without that creative power, we say dormant. As we rise in consciousness and we're standing under that creative power, we can do anything we set our minds to. So what is your desire? What is your deepest dream? What is it you don't want anybody to know about, but you want it and you want to be it? Do it. Use your creative power of unlimited resources that is available to everyone in the universe to create your life, whatever it looks like for you, because we're all different. We all have different thoughts. We all have different desires. And you can do it. I know you can. You can live a life of whatever it looks like for you. And I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't know what your desire is. I only know what mine is. And mine is a life of peace, eternal peace. And that sounds really big and daunting. But it's why I'm a minister. Because on this Memorial Day weekend, we've had enough people and souls die for our freedom. And not only did they might have died in combat, but they may have died psychologically, emotionally. So how many of you guys in here are veterans at some time, somewhere? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Because that's a big ask. To go ask someone to fight for us. Because what we're creating is devastation. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a baby boomer, and I'm a late baby boomer, but my dad served in World War II as a young man. He was 18 during Pearl Harbor in the Navy. He survived. Thank God, else I would not be here. He survived physically. He went on to end the war, landing in Normandy. He did not survive emotionally and psychologically. He carried it with him his entire life. And he died at the age of 56 from the trauma and the devastation that occurred during that time. That's why I fight for peace. And I don't use that word fight very often because it's two forces going against each other. But what I'm going to tell you about today is an opportunity for each of us to search for the answers for eternal peace. Because that's really what I want. I want that understanding, that unconditional love, not only for me, but for every one of you, and for every one of our kids out here dying on the street from addiction and abuse. For every soul that lives in this world without unconditional love. Without unconditional acceptance for who they are, no matter what it is and what they look like and how they show up in the world. It's okay. There's no reason for us to continue to degrade people and not accept everyone for who they are. It doesn't matter what our religion is. Our religions don't matter. Our cultures don't matter. That's just what makes us better and good. When we embrace ourselves totally with an understanding of the creative law of life. That we're all here together to journey with all of our beliefs and all of our thoughts to grow in consciousness from that victimhood state or that mortal misunderstanding of life that many are living today. That's why you have the abuse. That's why you have the addictions. It's the stage of doing. Oh, wait a minute, that's the wrong one. It's an eye for an eye. That's where most of society lives, an eye for an eye. You see it on the newspaper. You see it on the TV. Every time you turn on the news, if you get a tweet, somebody's killed somebody, mass shooting on the street. It's a constant turmoil. There's no esteem. There's no regard for life. That's sad. That's really sad. And that is the state of our mortal consciousness. Not only here in America, but everywhere in this world. There's too much greed. There's too much fighting for lack consciousness, is what I'm going to say. There's too much lack consciousness in our world, in our society. There's more than enough for everybody. Then we get to become a victor. How many of you guys have had metaphysics? The course of metaphysics. Okay. So you guys understand the victor, right? The metaphysician. It's the stage of growth, of actually beginning to look at your own self-worth and forgive. Every day, forgive. Forgive yourself first. Okay? That's the biggest act that we can do. Every night before you go to bed, forgive yourself for whatever you've transpired, even if you're not even conscious of it. It's something that we can do and do it consistently. And then begin to forgive others. Just like the prayer says, forgive those who trespass against us, upon us. That's where many of us in unity are at. It's like we've been baptized by the water. There's a cleaning process going on, a clearing process going on within us. And we begin to become alive. Then we get into being the vessel of life. I think that's where a lot of you guys are at. That spirit born in you, knowing that you have been through that crucifixion. Woo! Couldn't get it out. That's a hard one. Yeah, I know what it's like to be crucified. It's not a fun process. It's even hard to say the word. But what happens when we're crucified, if we really look at it and see the blessing that it really is? Because as we come through it, we're stronger. And if you can see the error in your own thinking, and you can continue to grow and develop your own emotional, spiritual self, then you have a lot to give. Sometimes it's difficult to get through that emotional intelligence, that spiritual intelligence of life. But when you get there and you see it, it's like, oh man, ooh, there's more to do. There's more love available. It's unconditional, and I just have to believe that everybody else is going to join together to transform our world. So the last step of the journey is to become the master, right? And I don't know about y'all, I'm not there yet. I don't know that I'll ever be there in this lifetime. But maybe. It's the verity consciousness of being. That consciousness where we realize the truth. That oneness of all that is. Now I see it and I know it intellectually. And there's occasions when I glimpse it and really see it in myself and in the world. When I forget that there's a duality, because there's really not a duality. We made that up. Sorry. So we really did make it up. There's no good and evil. There's living and life. And where do you want to live it at? Do you want to live it in the evil? No. We want to live it in the joy, right? In that joy, in that love, in that everything that is. So creating that I am awareness. Realizing, even for a short period of time, that I am love, I am light. That wisdom that Faith was talking about in the opening prayer this morning, where do we get it from? Deep within ourselves, when we go in and ask the questions, and then we take the steps to really become self-aware and to realize our own self-worth and to know that that's what matters for our individual growth. And when we can do that, and we join together with others who are in that same state of consciousness as us, anything is possible. Because the creative law tells us that it is possible. Then when race consciousness is together strong, we can do anything we set our minds to. So if we set our minds to create peace in our city, if we set our minds and prayers and intentions toward one thing together, it shifts. We're all born with this universal knowledge. And through ignorance and fear and error, it's squeezed out of us when we're little. How many of you know kids, children, who come into this world and have a depth of understanding that's scary? Did you hear what I said? That's scary. It scares us. And why does it scare us? Because we want to protect them. And we don't want them to be misunderstood out in society. Well, guess what? When we squeeze it out of them and we wring it and correct them and don't let them be the beauty that they came to be, then they're out on the streets in addiction, abuse, and an ever-creative cycle. Because that creative power can be used in many ways. That's how disease, unhappiness, and lack survives. Because we're scared. We have to let go of being scared. We have to let go of being little, right? We need to really be what we say we are in this community and in every Unity church everywhere. I just noticed there's no clock here. Oh, I see it. Okay. All right. So the reason why I'm saying this is some of you know, last year, back up. How many of you are familiar with Compassionate Louisville? We were a major part of that program when it started. And the reason why this community was a major part of that program when it started in this city was because I was sitting in class when Tom Williams, who brought it along with Greg Fisher to the city, came to the University of Louisville and said, hey, we want to do this in our city and we need your help. And my professor looked at me and said, come on, we're going to this meeting. And I'm like, what? I was studying brain science at the time. And so I go into this meeting with about 20 college professors, and we're sitting there and we're listening to Tom talk about compassion and his vision for compassion in our city and how compassion can change not only our lives, but the lives of others. And I said, oh, I'm in. I got this. I came back and I told Reverend Susan about it and Martha, and we got on the bandwagon, and many of you guys here were part of that movement. And I thank you for that. So last year, Tom Williams, God love his soul, went and had a meeting with one of the congregants at Unity of East Louisville, Suzanne DeGregor. And if many of you know Suzanne, because some of you are on Saturday morning meditation with her, she is an activist, and she is a one-woman show, and she is strong. And so Tom and Suzanne met, and he talked to her about this new vision that he had. And it's called the Louisville Resident Peace Project. And so Suzanne's like, you know what? This sounds like something Reverend Valerie might be interested in. And he said, who? Valerie Mansfield. She's the minister at the church where I belong. And he's like, yeah, I know her. Can we have a meeting? And so we met. And I said yes. Not only yes, I said yes. And I want this to be understood. I said yes. I had no clue if anybody else in the congregation was going to join me. Because just like I had no clue before when Compassionate Louisville came through that anybody else was going to say yes, I said yes. I didn't even hesitate to say yes. Because it is a lifelong vision of mine to have peace. Peace in our world. And it starts within me, and it spreads to you, and then it spreads to the community. It's what we do. Unity of East Louisville said yes. So, Suzanne went to work, and she gathered about 400 meditators to join us. Every day for 10 days, 3 times a day, there are opportunities for people to meditate. And we did a scripted meditation because we had a target area in the city. We wanted a 25% reduction. In order to get that, we needed 3,500 meditators. Okay? We did this in 2 weeks, and we had 400 meditators. We chose a city, a space in Louisville that was very small. We did it by Metro Council area. And what happened after that 10-day period, and I don't know if any of you all know the results yet or not, they're out there. We had a 16% reduction citywide in violent crime. Was not what we were expecting. We were shocked that it was citywide and not just in the target area that we had selected, that we were praying for and with and meditating and focusing on. A 16% reduction in violent crime over a 10-day period. That's a lot. When you think about how many people we had. So, I committed to 3 years of doing this. This is year 2. On July 22nd through July 28th, we're going to be doing our second City Louisville Resident Peace Study. Whew. They couldn't find an easy name for me. I'm asking you guys to join me. I know that your board has talked about it and agreed to it. They are joining us. They are sponsoring with us. I know that they've talked to Bethany, who actually, some other background information, Bethany Gagne is actually the one who's doing the study. She's the one who has the website that sends you the email every day. And Karen, Reinhardt Dr. Karen Reinhardt is the professor at the Albany State University who is doing the statistics. This was done in Albany, New York. It's been done in, I think it's Syracuse, New York, and in Louisville, Kentucky. We're doing our second year. This year, we're not doing a blind study. I'm going to tell you all where we're going to be praying. Last year, nobody knew. We're going to see if it makes a difference, or if we still get a citywide reduction in violent crime. I'm asking each of you to sign up. It'll be on your website if it's not already. The link to go and sign up on. I want you to really think about it. What am I asking? I'm asking you to do something that is yours to do, that is ours to do. It's not going to be easy because it takes practice. It takes creating a new habit of every day, either at 7, noon, or 7. 3 choices, 7, noon, or 7, to sit for 20 minutes in contemplation. Meditation, prayer, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter to me. I just want you to do it. To be part of something bigger than we are. Now, I am going to say that when I talk about this in the city, people are like, well, you can't stop the violence with prayer. I've never said that it's the only way. It is a way that every individual can participate in reducing the violence in our city. Now, if you really want to get active, there is a violent prevention group that meets every Wednesday at 3:30 for an hour and a half on Zoom. If you're interested, send me your name. I will get you the link. It's the Interfaith Path to Peace has created it. It's an interfaith group. It's grassroots. It's faith-based. It's businesses. It's people, individuals like you and me. It's the people that are out on the street stopping and working to stop the violence. We had a violence prevention summit. I don't know if any guys you even knew about it in March. It was in March. So there's all kinds of ways you can get involved. Prayer is one way. So I'm cautioning you. People are going to, when you start talking about it, because that's what I want you to do. I want you to go online. I want you to educate yourself. I want you to talk about it. And when you do that, people are going to question you. But remember, I am the light. You are the light. We are the light. It's who we are. It's what we do. And I invite you to join me in being the light of life, of the world. Namaste.